Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome back to my series. So this is going to be the fourth type of resistance, and we're talking about unawareness today. So, unawareness. This is where you genuinely do not actually know that something in your life needs to change. So, the first thing is you need to accept that. Okay, so you need to accept that there is something in your blind spot, so to say, that you have to change and you're not aware of it. We all have blind spots, okay? It's nothing to be ashamed about, it's nothing to feel guilty about. We all have them, and the first step is to become aware. So, know that you have blind spots, okay? So, what you're gonna do is you're going to ask a few of the people who are closest to you about what they've noticed in your life that you need to change or do something differently. So, something I want to just preface this by saying is that you have to make sure that you're asking people who are not going to just shit on you. People who are not going to bring this up later and use it in an argument against you. This is a trusted conversation that you're going to have with them, and let them know that you are not going to be offended, that you're genuinely just looking to get better in your life and you need their input, and that it's okay for them to say whatever they're going to say, but also that they are going to hold that container for you as well by not getting mad at you about it later or shitting on you about how you're terrible at doing something or not doing something. So it's important that you set a container like this and that you ask people who are conscious enough to be there for you in this way. So I want you to pick at least 2 people. If you can get 3, that's great. And listen to what they have to say, and know you might feel a little triggered, and that's a good sign that it is definitely something that you need to work on. So maybe I'll try to give an example of this so you kind of know what I'm talking about here, but maybe you are super unhappy in your job, but you haven't really realized it, and you need your partner to tell you, listen, I can tell that you are not happy in this job. You come home and you're depressed and you complain to me all night about the people you work with, the work that you do, and they can help you realize maybe I can make a change. And they can help you realize that it's having such a great effect on your life. And then they'll be there to support you when you do make a change, because one of the things with these types of resistance is one of these deep-rooted fears is of changing something, because we don't know what's going to happen if we do. It's easy to just stay in one place because it's comfortable, even if we don't like it, even if we're miserable. It's easy to just stay there because we know what's going to happen. Okay, but by realizing you need to make a change, that's where the hard stuff starts. It's realizing you have to change and being from my example, I decided to start working on a business and to essentially throw away an engineering degree that I spent $200,000 on. I spent $200,000 of my hard-earned money. I am paying my entire college by myself, and I decided I'm not going to do engineering anymore. Okay, at the time that I quit my job, I'll have only used that degree for 4.5 years. So I spent, if we want to look at this mathematically, about $50,000 a year to keep my job, to have a job in engineering. Okay, so that's just an example, okay? And it was hard for me to accept that I was in denial for so long. It was hard for me to accept that I didn't want to be in that world anymore, that I didn't want to be doing a typical 9 to 5, that I didn't want to be doing something for a degree that I worked so hard for. I felt like I was throwing it away, and not only that did I feel like I was throwing it away, but everyone around me, my siblings, my parents, My grandmother, she is so proud of me for being an engineer. She loves that I'm a woman who's doing something different. And I felt that I was letting them down by saying, this isn't what I want to do. And they told me that I was wasting my degree in so many words. They told me, they even asked, I think they were trying to be nice, but they asked, like, well, what about your college degree? What about your loans? Like, you spent so much money on that, right? And those were exact fears that I was having. Those are the exact fears that I was having. It's hard. It's so hard to face a massive shift like this. But I am so much happier and so much more fulfilled since I made the decision to work on something different. Because I know deep down I'm meant for way more than working my life away at a desk with no windows around me for a job that I know I don't matter, for a job that I know other people could do. Okay? So, you are going to talk to 2 or 3 people. They're going to tell you these things that you're going to have a hard time accepting, but I just want you to feel open to the exchange, to the information. Just feel open to it. Just because they tell you those things, you don't have to do anything about it. It's just information, okay? So take it in and hear what they have to say and just let it sink in, okay? So next, I want you to, once they've given you your feedback, I want you to journal or meditate or go for a walk in the woods or whatever feels good to you so that you can really let the information sink in. Give it some couple days. This is nothing that you have to rush and start working on immediately. But I want you to reflect on what they have said, what they've told you that you need to change, and think to yourself and let it just marinate. Feel how you feel about it. Is this something that you want to make a change to? Is it something that you don't think is true? So maybe they'll tell you something that you're like, well, I think I'm going to keep doing this because I know that's right for me. That's fine too. But the key here is to just marinate with what they told you and consider the change that they are telling you needs to happen. So once you have marinated on this, then I want you to start getting a plan together. Okay, so you're now aware. Unawareness is taken care of because they've told you what you're unaware of. So now that you have the awareness, that is now when you can work on the actual action steps to make a difference in your life. So maybe it is that I'm going to keep going with this job example. Maybe you have realized, yeah, wow, I really don't like my job. So what do you start with? You say, okay, let's make a list. What do you like about your job? List what you like, and then list what you don't like. And then you have a list of things that you want to look for in another job. So maybe it's not even starting your own business or anything. Maybe it's just looking for a job that's more aligned with what you want to do and what's more aligned with the life that you want to live. So that's just a small way to start working on making the change, okay? So this whole video is about the unawareness and getting past the unawareness, but also accepting that you're unaware and accepting that a change needs to happen, okay? So like I said, we all have changes that we're unaware of. I guarantee right now, I'm unaware of some changes that I could make, okay? And maybe even I'm still in the denial phase of certain things, like I know I need to get a little bit more consistent with moving my body. I know that I feel great when I work out. I know that I feel great, but I haven't been as consistent as I'd like to be, or not that I'd like to be, but just as I know will make me feel like my best self. So I just want you to know this, that it's okay. Like whatever changes you do become aware of now, whatever you do with that information is up to you, and don't let yourself judge yourself, okay? So quick summary now. So 1, accept that you are unaware of something that needs to change in your life. It doesn't matter how big or small it is. It could be something as small as like you just need to be better at cleaning up your house, okay? It doesn't matter. Number 2, you need to ask 2 to 3 people who you trust and will provide the safe container and won't beat you up about what you need to change and will not bring it back to you all the time, and who feel comfortable telling you, and you make it comfortable for them to tell you about what they see. And then third, you're journaling or meditating about, or walking or whatever feels good for you, about the changes that need to happen. You're letting it sink in. You're asking, is this a true change that I need to make or not? Is a change here aligned with where I want to go in my life? And then finally, 4, you are working on the next step, whether it's making a list of things you do or don't like in a job, or just applying to new jobs, or starting to keep your house cleaner, or for me, starting to be more consistent with my workouts. And so for me, that's asking for help from my partner and being like, hey, I know I feel better when I work out. Can you just help motivate me, remind me a little bit, like, to go and do the thing? Can you just help me here? So that is it for this week's video on awareness. Now you're aware, or you will be when you've done all these things. And then once you're past the unawareness, you have gotten through that, and you can make shit happen, and you can make your life more aligned with what you want it to look like, and you can make your dreams come true. This is just one more way to get through that. So next week is our last video in this series, and I just can't believe that this is all coming together. So exciting. So next week we're talking about purposeful. That's the type of the resistance, purposeful resistance. So we'll get into that next Wednesday, and I'll see you then.